we getting ready to get started. How's everybody feeling? We gotta bring the energy. We gotta bring the energy. I'm a football guy, so when I say how y'all feel, y'all gonna say fired up. This ain't the regular financial literacy. We gonna get excited. We got some special things going on today. So when I say how y'all feel, y'all gonna say fired up. Everybody got me? All right, here we go. How y'all feel? Fired up. How y'all feel? Fired up. How y'all feel? Fired up. All right, I love it. Okay, all right, we get to it. Good morning. My name is Joel Gamble. I stand before you today as a former NFL player, a vice president at the largest financial institution in this country. But more importantly, I stand here as a product of the very community we are gathered in today. A proud West Baltimore native, Carver High School graduate, and member of the Carver Hall of Fame. All right, we got some Carver folks in the building. Legacy in Motion was born when two West Baltimore natives and Carver graduates began having conversation about what was necessary to help propel the financial journeys of people throughout our community. Lamont Riley and I shared the belief that if we not only provided education and resources, but also encouraged the application and action, we could help create a dramatic shift in wealth across our communities. Today is about more than just information, it's about transformation. It's about changing mindsets from consumers to owners. It's about creating a plan, taking action, but building something that can outlive us and impact generations to come. We are excited that you chose to spend your time with us today. Thank you for investing in yourselves. Thank you for believing that your family's future can look different, and thank you for being a part of this movement. Welcome to Legacy in Motion. Now it's my honor to introduce my partner. Please welcome a retired educator, proud Baltimore native and Carver graduate, devoted father whose impact is reflected in the leaders he has helped to shape locally, statewide, and at the federal level. A proud Carver Bear brother, right, 454, and trusted partner in this work. His commitment to community, leadership, and lifting others is felt across this state and beyond. Please join me in welcoming your host for Legacy in Motion, Mr. Reginald Riley.
Good morning and welcome to Legacy in Motion. This is a financial awareness event. My name is Reginald Riley, and it is truly an honor to stand before a room filled with leaders, professionals, families, and community champions. Today, we are united by a common purpose: to learn, to grow, and to build a brighter future. On behalf of the D9 ambassadors and Joel Gamble, thank you for being here. Your presence sends a powerful message that you believe in opportunity, you believe in progress, and you believe that the future can be greater than the present. Today is about more than money. Today is about empowerment. It's about gaining the knowledge to make informed decisions. It's about creating pathways to financial freedom. It's about building generational wealth that can transform families, communities for years to come. We extend our sincere Gratitude to Dr. Anthony L. Jenkins, the president here at Cotton State University, for his visionary leadership, his unflinching commitment to education and community empowerment. We also like to thank the College of Business. This is a beautiful room. And also, we like to thank Dr. Shanta Haywood for answering the call. The call, the partnering, it helped. It helped us to bring Joel and I's vision alive. As we begin today, I challenge you to lean in. I challenge you to stay engaged. I challenge you to ask questions and embrace every opportunity it is in here to learn today. The knowledge shared today has the power to change lives. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Legacy in Motion, where financial freedom begins. Thank you. Now, thank you. To guide us through today's Legacy in Motion financial awareness conversation, we are honored to welcome a leader whose work continues to inspire, strengthen communities, and shape opportunities across this beautiful city. Ladies and gentlemen, our moderator for the day is Cookie Colbert.
Thank you so much, Lamont Riley. Good morning, everyone. So, panel, thank you all so much for coming today to this amazing event, and thank you to all of our guests. First question. I'll start with you, sir, at the end. Many of us were never taught financial health in school or at home. Why is financial education important at every stage of life, from youth to retirement? And when you finish, can you please pass the mic? Thank you.
Absolutely. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Brother Aziza, Community Director at Keys Development. But the question was, why is financial freedom important, or financial literacy important, from youth all the way to retirement, right? Yes. Okay. One thing about financial freedom or financial literacy is we have to understand the reason for finances, right? We as a people were never taught how to use finances. We were taught to depend on others on how to use finances. So when we speak about our youth, a lot of times they're doing what? Chasing the bag, right? That's what they say, we're chasing the bag, right? But a lot of times you're taught to chase the bag, but you're not taught to do you're not taught what to do when you catch the bag, right? So our young people see all these people flashing money and doing certain things on Instagram. But if you look at Instagram, social media, MEDIA, would stand for Most Effective Distraction in America. So we're distracted by certain things that we see, and we think we have to take that route to get what they had. So it's important to teach them how to receive money, finances, right, at a young age, the right way, and not the way that they're shown. And when it comes to retirement, we should learn to say no today so we can say yes tomorrow. Because a lot of times we spend money that we don't have to get things that we don't need to impress people that we don't even know. So we'll spend money over and over and over again, and we wonder to ourselves, why don't I have any money later on in life? So we also have to watch people that we hang around. Because you have to watch a person that thinks money is everything. A person that thinks money is everything will do anything to get it. They'll rob, they'll steal, they'll kill. So you don't want to hang around people like that. Because money is not the root of all evil. The love of money is the root of all evil, as the scripture says. So it's very important for us to teach from the cradle, always and almost to the grave.
Thank you so much, Brother Muhammad.
Hello there, my name is Quill. I'm from SECU. I wrote some bullet points because I can talk. So, I'm going to stick to my points here. So
can I ask Brother Quill, can I please ask you the next question, please? Okay. For young people, what are the foundational money habits that should be taught early before they receive their first paycheck, scholarship, NIL deal, or credit card?
That's a good question. One of the things that I think of is, we don't do a lot of delayed gratification. We want to get things right now. We see it, we want it impulsively. We do these things. So teaching about delayed gratification is one. Teaching budgeting basics. We don't know we don't know about our wants and needs. A lot of times we don't know how to distinguish between wants and needs. So a lot of things we want, we don't need. A lot of things we need, we want. So teaching them about that. Saving consistently as well. One of the things that we never do is pay ourselves. We don't pay ourselves. So we teach a lot about putting money in. When you get paid, have money automatically sent into your savings account. Save something. We don't do that. That's paying yourself. Understanding credit. We don't understand it. We want it. You need credit to live. You can't survive in this world without credit. But do we understand it fully? If we weren't taught when we were young, how are we going to teach the young generation? Our children, we can't do that. Teaching them how to understand that. Teaching them to have an earning mindset. Okay? A lot of folks live paycheck to paycheck. But do you have an earning mindset? Also, think about ownership. We don't think about ownership. Talk about buying your first. Not renting from someone else and letting someone else reap the rewards of your efforts, but having your own and doing for yourself. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Next question. As adults begin building careers, families, and businesses, what are the biggest financial mistakes people make in their 20s, 30s, 40s that can impact long-term wealth?
Absolutely. Good morning, everybody. My name is Aziza Smith, and I have the pleasure of representing MECU. And this question was something that weighed on me a little heavy. And like Will, I'm a talker. Financial empowerment things are my judge, so I got some things here. I'm not twittering on my phone, I promise you. The biggest mistake I see in what I do isn't debt. It isn't spending. It isn't the credit cards. It's believing that you have time. That you have time. In your 20s, you are trying to figure out credit. When you're in your 15-year-old stage, you're trying to figure out the value of a dollar. When you get to be 30 to 35, you're trying to take care of the kids in the house. By the time you get to 50, 55, you're looking at retirement and legacy. By the time you turn 75, you're just trying to make sure everybody knows where everything is when it's time for you to go. But we have to make sure that we're making the time, and the thing that we get caught up in is, I have all the time in the world. You do. Today. Start today. Start with what you have. Start today. And it doesn't matter if it's $100 in a savings account. It doesn't matter if it's $5 in a savings account. My thing to my members and my team at my credit union is slow motion is still motion. As long as you're putting something somewhere, you are saving for a future. You're changing the narrative for your families. So again, 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds. It's not about the time that you have to spend working. It's about the time that you have to spend planning to make sure that your family has what they need when it's time for you to go on home.
Next question, for elders and retirees. Why are estate planning, wills, trusts, life insurance, and legacy conversations so critical within our communities?
All right, peace, good morning, everyone. How y'all doing? All right, my name is Kerwyn, Phillip. I'm an author and financial literacy advocate and speaker. The book that I'm known for is Malik's First Job, Financial Principles for Teens. And to answer your question in regards to elders, with these different estate planning things, if we're just kind of put together everything, all the questions that you asked earlier, right? So wealth takes time to create. It's not done overnight. And the earlier that you start, the more time you have to compound and build and to create that wealth. So let's say if you started early, in your early adult years, you started investing, you started ownership, you started buying property, you have real estate, you have all these assets once you become an elder. You spend all this time, sacrifice, blood, sweat, and tears to make sure that you have this, have this wealth that you've accumulated. You want to make sure that you protect it, right? As we said, at some point in time, we're going to all pass away. So we want to make sure that those assets are properly handled or passed on to our future generations. So we have to plan ahead, right? Have the wills in place, have the different estate plans, like the words are leaving my mind right now. The trust funds, and all the different things, and let your children know what's there, right? That way, when the time comes, people aren't scrambling for documents, people aren't arguing and fighting over assets, saying, well, that's mine, that's yours. We don't have time for that. So if you document and notate and let people know, get attorneys involved and everyone else, that way when that time comes, it's transferred in a peaceful, consistent way, and there's less confusion. And it's protected as well, because no one wants to have their family go through probate, have other people come in and try to take what you took years to build. So take the time now to start planning, have those conversations. Right? That way it creates less confusion later on.
Thank you so much. Okay, Brother Muhammad, next question is back to you, sir. Historically, many Black families have experienced financial trauma through lack of access to capital and generational poverty, redlining. How have these experiences shaped the way many Black families view money today?
It shaped thinking that we can't get what others have. I can't get ahead because I'm always being pushed aside, or I'm not able to get what others have access to, right? To bust that myth up, it's not the fact that you don't have access. The fact is that you don't actually believe in yourself to build something. So what we'll do is we'll spend all of our life building somebody else's legacy instead of building up our own. I'm gonna share this story. It was a guy, he was the owner of a multi-million-dollar company, and he pulled up in a brand new Lamborghini. Some of his employees were outside. They said, "Dang, boss, that's the new Lamborghini, man. That's nice." The boss said, you like this? They said, "Yeah." He said, "All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to take as many shifts as you can. I want you to work overtime and even time and a half. And next year, I'm gonna go buy me another one." What's that mean? The harder you work, I reap the benefits for it. So the same energy that you put into building somebody else's legacy, you have to have value and love and respect for yourself. And like Sister said, it starts today. Stop putting that idea that you were given off for another time and then get mad when somebody else take that idea and do something with it. So the idea that you were blessed with it for a reason. Now you have to take it and put it into practice. Yeah, you may not have everything together. Yeah, you may not feel like you have certain access, but you have to start today and just start trying to figure it out. You're gonna fail. You're gonna fall. You're gonna trip. But the goal is for you to trip, get back up, and learn from the mistakes. Because if you earn, then you can always learn. If you know, you can always grow. And if you read, you can always lead.
Brother Quill, question to you, sir. How does financial trauma show up emotionally in our communities? Examples may include fear of investing, living paycheck to paycheck despite income growth, overspending for status, or avoiding financial conversations altogether.
Good question here. Well, financial trauma, it often manifests as behaviors, that actually they're protective responses. So, fear of investing, you don't want to lose what I work for. So you don't want to put yourself out there. You don't want to earn. You live from paycheck to paycheck, and even though your salary is increasing, year over year, you don't have that mindset that, okay, let me put myself out there, let me look at the future. A lot of times we stay in the now, and we don't want to step out, because you're stepping out in faith. That, you know, I'm a mutual fund guy, this mutual fund's gonna grow, I'm a stock guy, the stock's gonna grow. I'm afraid, because all my money this is what I have to live on when I get older and retire. So, the fear is there. Overcompensating through status, spending, we wanna be like the Joneses. And we wanna be like the Joneses too much, where they have the Lamborghini, story here, Brother Muhammad. You know, I'm buying my owner, the owner of this company, a new Lamborghini that I want. But I don't have the mindset to say, okay, how am I make my own? You know, stepping out in faith. Avoidance of financial conversations or planning. One of the things that we do in our community is we don't talk to our community about money. We don't talk to our children. So they don't know how to be that next, the generational growth that we want. They don't know how to do it because we're not teaching them how to. Okay? And hyper conversation, risky, it's a risky decision. Put yourself out there, don't be afraid, and just do it. Don't live in the now. Live for tomorrow. Live for tomorrow.
Thank you. Very good. Sister. Trust has historically been an issue between Black communities and financial institutions. What steps can financial professionals and organizations take to rebuild trust and improve access to resources?
All right, well, I'm gonna start here. The views that I'm about to express are probably not the views of my credit union, my CEOs in the back. I'm Mr. Hamilton. But what I will say is I don't believe that trust is built in a branch. I believe that it's built in the community that you work with. Trust is built with teaching financial education and empowerment, but not selling products. I believe that trust is also built when you show up consistently. At MECU, the one thing that I am extremely proud of is that we will meet you where you're at. And I'm gonna run down the list. Schools, churches, community centers, workforce development programs, recovery programs. We do not wait for people to come to us, we go to them. Our job is to show up in places and spaces that we have not been, or we have not been in a while. When you show up consistently, it breeds trust and loyalty. That conversation about financial empowerment is so important to me and my organization, because if I can change your financial narrative with a conversation, my products are gonna come. I wanna make sure that your credit score is so high that anybody can lend to you. But you come on back home to meet you because it started with us. When nobody else took that faith in you, when nobody else gave that trust to you, we did. And we didn't ask you for anything. We just asked you to show up, bring a notepad, sit for this free coaching and counseling session by certified coaches in my organization, and change that family narrative. It's consistency, it's showing up, and it's showing that it's not about your products and services, but the member service that we offer, not only to our members, but our potential members. Thank you.
Brother Kerwyn, we often hear the phrase generational wealth. What does that realistically look like for everyday families, starting from scratch or recovering from financial setbacks?
So, all right, so what it looks like, it starts off with conversation. Making sure your children and families are educated about finance. Right? Because as I mentioned earlier, we want to make sure that we're able to pass down assets from generation to generation. Every other community does that, and somehow we haven't figured it out consistently. Right? By having those financial conversations, starting off when your children are younger, set them up with different types of accounts. right? Life insurance, right? You open up a whole life policy for your child when they're first born, and that's almost like a savings, right? So when it comes time to go to college, they can choose if they want to use some of that insurance funds that they accumulated and go towards college, you can go towards trade school or whatever else they want to pursue. And again, having those consistent conversations, starting off when they're young, through their teenage years, when they start earning money, getting jobs, teaching them the basics of budgeting, building a relationship with the credit union or bank. Because oftentimes when people go to the banks, they make a deposit, they walk out the door. They go to the ATM, do a transaction, walk out the door. They walk past all the offices where people sit in there, right? But that's the resource that you have, right? We often talk about the fact that we didn't get the education coming up. So leverage the resources that are available to you, right? Talk to the people in the credit union, go inside the office, say, look, these are the goals in which I have. They help to create goals, right? I want to buy my first house. I want to learn how to invest. I want to do, X, Y, and Z. I want to get my children prepared for the future. They'll let you know about these different resources. And through that education, through that information, then you have the tools that are required to start building generational wealth. Like, it's really sexy to kind of go out and say, yeah, I'm building generational wealth. I tell people this all the time. It's a sexy term. But are we taking actionable steps to ensure that we're creating generational wealth for our families? Right? You asked all the good questions before you get to me. Right? So we speak about the trauma. Right? You have to realize just how we pass down habits through genetics. Trauma is passed down through genetics as well. Right? If we go back to the history of this country, we go back to when we first came out of slavery, they opened up the Freedmen's Bank, right? And we had folks putting money into this bank, but then the folks who ran the bank stole the money, right? We go back to Tulsa, Oklahoma, right? Where we built businesses, we had a whole community, right? That was destroyed. Right down in Richmond, Virginia, where I live, we have Jackson Ward, right? Where we had the Apollo of the South, the Hippodrome, right? We had businesses. Maggie Walker opened up, the first African-American woman opened up a bank. That's like the first woman, period, black woman, opened up a bank in Luke's Penny Savings Bank in Richmond, Virginia, right? What happened to Jackson Ward? They built 95 right hook, broke up the community, right? We speak about redlining, right? We speak about the civil rights movement. Every time we try to build something, it gets destroyed, right? So what kind of mentality does that create? We say, you know what? There's no need in trying to build something because money will be taken away from us. We wonder why our grandparents put money in a mattress and not inside the bank, right? Because they didn't trust the system, right? But now we're in a day and time now, we have to teach our children, teach our families, trust the system, leverage the system, build relationships with the banks and credit unions, use the tools and resources that are available to us. And that's going to help us build that generational wealth for the future.
Okay, Brother Muhammad, how can families normalize financial conversations at home so children can grow up understanding budgeting, investing, credit, ownership, and wealth building earlier than previous generations?
So we gotta be honest with ourselves first and foremost, right? You can't teach what you don't know.
Yep.
So this is why some of the conversations aren't being had because they just don't know, right? This is why financial literacy and learning about money is very important. Now, for those that do know, we have to understand that whatever we teach our children is a representation of how our future will look. So if our children come home and we really depend on the school system, let's be real, to teach them, for them to be independent on their own, and we got another thing coming. So we have to have these conversations at home because behaviors of children don't start when they walk through the door. They start when they're at home, and a lot of times they mirror what they see at home. They say what they see, they say what they hear at home. So these conversations are very important to have with our youth because our youth are like sponges. Whatever you put inside of them, they'll soak up. And also it's like planting a seed. One thing about a seed is when you plant it that same day, it doesn't grow that same day. So we have to have these conversations with our children even if we feel like they don't properly comprehend what they're telling them. Now, when we tell them this later on, when the world starts germinating that seed that we place in them, then they'll start understanding why it's so important to have these conversations at home.
Brother Quill, looking ahead, 10 to 20 years, what financial shifts or opportunities should Black families be preparing for now to create stronger futures for our next generation?
Very good question. Looking ahead, I think families should prepare for the rise of multiple income streams. You know, we have our one job, paycheck to paycheck. Do we have a side hustle? You know, so, you know, do we want a side hustle? Do we want to do better than what we're doing right now? We want to live paycheck, continue living paycheck to paycheck, you know? Have multiple streams of income. Have more than one home, if you can afford it. That's rental income. That's another stream of income that we have right there. Technology-driven finance. AI, digital banking, you know, banking is not the way banking was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago. It's not the same. Everything is virtual now. You know, SECU, we do a lot of things. Most of our stuff is virtual. You know, we have 22 branches, but we have one branch that is all virtual, all day long, 9 to 8, every day, 5 days a week. So digital banking is the thing of the future, getting ready for that. Longer life expectancies. Some people are living beyond their retirement. They're living beyond it. So what are you going to do when that happens? Do you have, as I mentioned before, rental income coming in that can support you? If you don't have that, then you're going to be in trouble. Who wants to go back to work at 80 years of age? Nobody. So prepare for that now. Entrepreneurship and ownership opportunities. Be your own boss. Number one, just be your own boss. You know, you work for years for someone else, and who's benefiting from that? You get a salary. But at the end of the day, who does it belong to? Not you. Okay? Wealth transfer shifts. Ensure that your assets are protected. We talked about wills and trust earlier. Have that difficult conversation with your parents, your elder family members. I tried having it with my father before he passed away, years before he passed away. And in our community, we talked about, oh, you bringing death upon me? So, you know, and that's not the case. Prepare. So, to make it easier for your family that you leave behind. But those are just some of the things that I have down here, some points I have down here for the next 10 to 20 years.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So the last question I have for each one of you. What would you tell your 18-year-old self? Just remember when you were 18.
Okay. When I was 18, I was kind of wild. But I would tell myself to start saving. Save early. We talk to a lot of high schoolers and college students, and none of them can fathom being 65 and ready to retire. None of them. So save more now, then stop trying to live like the next guy, but put money away and save. Think about your future. Because we're all going to get there one day, God willing. And when we do, like I said, who wants to go back to work at 80 years of age?
Brother Muhammad?
As he's saying, I'm thinking about when I was 18, what I would tell myself, right? I'm gonna be honest with you. If I could speak to my 18-year-old self, before I would even speak about finances as a whole, I would speak about value and who you are and understanding how value works, right? I would share the story. Somebody shared me a story, right? They took out a $100 bill, right? How much is this worth? $100, right? If I take this and I ball it up how much is it worth? If I take it, throw it on the ground, and stomp on it, how much is it worth? If I take this $100 bill and I tear it apart, like this, I got tape, don't worry about it. I'm gonna tape it back together, don't trip. And I rip it, how much is it worth? So what about them times you felt like you was stepped on? What about them times you felt like you was pushed aside? What about them times like you felt like you was thrown on the ground or pushed away, or you felt like your value didn't matter? See, no matter what you went through, it doesn't dissipate or bring down your value. So I would tell myself, value yourself, Isaiah. Understand that the idea that you were given, it was given to you for a reason. But that idea will never take place and never have value in your life if you don't first value yourself. So that's what I would tell myself if I could speak to my 18-year-old son.
If I could speak to my 18-year-old self, I would say to her, give your parents grace. I blamed a lot of the things that I did in my teens and my 20s as it pertains to finances on the fact that my parents did not give me what I needed. But what I had to understand as I grew older is they didn't get what they needed either. And they didn't have the luxury of sitting down and talking about budgeting and saving and what to do and how to earn. The only thing that they knew how to do was earn. But nobody taught them how to manage. Nobody taught them how to invest. Nobody taught them how to leave it forward. So as I sit here as a 50-year-old woman with two parents that are still working, I have to give grace. Because I am able to comfortably retire in the next 15 years. But I want to make sure that I give my parents an opportunity to retire as well. So whatever they could not teach me, I taught myself through the hard knocks life. Okay, I'm going to be really real with that. But in that, I learned how to make my dollar work. My family are originally from Panama. Money works a little different in that country. By the time I retire, before I retire in 5 years, both of my parents will be in Panama in the land that I bought, in the home that I'm building, because they deserve all of the work that they put into me, even though it was not financial. And I want you to leave with this. If you cannot leave a legacy of asset, please leave a legacy of education, because you might not be the one to end or break that chain, but you might be the one to begin it for somebody else. So give yourself grace. 18 was a long time ago, but I love my peoples, and I'm very proud that I grew up the way that I grew up, because I would not be doing what I'm doing today without them. Thank you so much.
Let me put some perspective to it. 18 years old, this is 1993. Freshman year going into Morgan State University. What Morgan Bay is that? I got shot about it. I don't care if I'm at Coppin State. But seriously, I think at the time, I would tell myself, stop being so hard-headed. Listen, pay attention, right? Don't think that money grows in trees, right? Think about your future, right? I know in my early adult years, when I was working, I'd spend. I didn't think about saving or investing, anything else like that. You know, and it kind of created a series of bad habits that carried on into my adulthood. It took me years to kind of figure out. But again, I'll tell myself, educate yourself about finances. As I mentioned, this is 1993. The internet didn't exist quite yet. I tell myself, hey, there's some companies coming on the rise. You may want to start studying the stock market, right? Look at Apple. Look at Facebook. You know, look at all these. I'm looking at stickers going across the screen right now. You know, but pretty much educate yourself about money, right? Because there was people around me that I really didn't pay attention to. Because again, I was caught up in my own world. You know, we were all 18, you know, partying and carrying on and thinking, you know, things are going to last forever. You know, but then the rude awakening happens and life happens. You have to kind of figure things out on the fly. So, as we mentioned, at the foundation, prepare yourself, plan, right? If you plan, those who fail to plan to fail, right? So the earlier that you start, the better future that you create for yourself, right? And I think, again, that's the foundation. Educate yourself and start preparing, right? Don't put things off till tomorrow, because tomorrow never comes, right? Because I could say, well, I'm gonna do it tomorrow, right? When it's tomorrow, like today is what, Saturday. I said, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow's Sunday, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. Then it becomes Monday, I'll do it tomorrow, Tuesday. At some point in time, you have to stop and say, you know what, I'm gonna do it today. I'm gonna do it now. And that's what people say now, you know, the time is now. Now is the reality. That's the only time that exists. It's just what happens right now. So I know we're all here today. You know, we're all sitting here as ambassadors, because there's so many people, more people who need this information, right? So soak in what you can now, so that when you leave here and you come around your own circles, you spread this information. Because everyone here is an ambassador, right? To go and help raise our community. We always try to put the responsibility on somebody else, right? We wait for somebody to come and save us. We have to save ourselves. We all got to take the responsibility to be educators, right? And help those that don't know, right? Thank you.
Thank you so much. You all please give a round of applause to financial education at all stages of life. Our wonderful panelists. Can you all please say your name again and how they can follow you and get in touch with you? You all get out your phones right now just so you can write their numbers down, or their Facebook, Instagram, how they can follow you. Thank you all so much.
Again, my name is Aziza Gary Smith. You can find me on LinkedIn. Again, that's Aziza, A-Z-I-Z-A, last name Gary Smith. I have a table downstairs. I also do have a virtual business card, so come scan my phone, and I look forward to talking with you.
Thank you very much, Aziza.
All right, again, my name is Kerwyn Phillip. On all my social medias, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, it's Kerwyn Phillip. It's spelled K-E-R-W-Y-N-P-H-I-L-L-I-P. I also have the social media for my book. It's called Malik's First Job. Again, it's the same. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Shout out to SECU. All right. Yeah. So again, Malik's First Job is all social media as well. And feel free to follow me. I have a digital business card as well. You can connect with me afterwards. If you have any further questions, just feel free to stop me.
Again, Isaiah Muhammad, Community Director for Keys Development. You can type in Keys Development or Youth Ambassador _ you can find me on there as well. And also OTM Mentoring, Original Thoughts Mentoring as well.
And Quill Hamilton, CQ, on LinkedIn. I'm the Financial Wellness Director at CQ. And we have a table downstairs as well. And we also giving away free $100 for anyone who opens up a membership with us downstairs. Okay, we're giving you free money to start your savings journey. Okay, thank you. And I have a virtual card, so if you want to scan my card, you can. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. We're going to take a 5-minute stretch. Do not go too far, but let's give it up again for financial education at all stages of life. You all were phenomenal panelists and have enlightened me on some other things that I didn't know. Thank you so much.